Picture-perfect mountains, snowfalls blanketing the region, but ski runs remain bare. The Alpine region hit hard by Victoria's fifth lockdown.
We've had over 80 centimetres of snow, and it started falling the minute the lockdown was called. So that's been pretty painful for the Alpine community.
Recent snowfall injecting a glimmer of hope, but lockdown number 5 comes in the midst of their busiest break.
July school holidays and then the rest of July is absolute peak. So by far the busiest month of the year.
The season spans just 4 months of the year, so businesses need to make the most of its peak. Visits to the Alpine resorts have doubled on the 10-year average. Before lockdown, there was barely a bed on the mountain that wasn't booked.
So if you think about every single one of those bookings being refunded, you start to get an idea of the millions of dollars that are involved in a lockdown like this for an Alpine area.
Now, operators busy processing refunds, trying to take free bookings where they can. It's a worrying time, with some smaller businesses struggling to see how they'll make it through.
It's the little towns around the mountain that I worry, because they had no winter trade last year, none.
Many still trying to recoup costs from Victoria's long lockdown last year, which decimated most of the season.
We operated for 44 days last year. We normally operate for about 120, 130. Some of our colleagues at Hotham Falls were only open for a couple of days.
It's going to take a couple more years before we completely get out of this for the entire industry. This isn't just done, in the next 6 weeks.
$1.2 million of support was announced by the government to throw a lifeline to this sector, offering an additional $3,000 to $15,000 grants received.
I understand that for businesses that are doing it really tough, every bit of support is important, but it also doesn't cover all of their losses. That's acknowledged and understood by the government, but we've provided $7 billion worth of support throughout this pandemic. We'll continue to support businesses.
It's a very small drop in the bucket, though. What we really want to do is get our doors open and get visitors back onto the mountain.
Some Victorian Alpine businesses and operators had feared they wouldn't survive through this season. But with bumper snowfalls and the season set through to September, they're hopeful restrictions ease so they can welcome visitors to the slopes.
Very excited about opening up and get going again. And I think people will go straight to the mountains before the season ends.
Melissa Christidis, Sky News.